kind of mind not only takes a life, but enjoys every moment of it. Today, we're diving into the darkest files ever opened. From a killer who hunted women in the Alaskan wilderness to a man who murdered hundreds and is still out there. These aren't horror stories, they're real cases, real monsters. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand just how far evil welcomed to Crime Cipher, the home of real cases, disturbing truths, and terrifying killers. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and drop a comment telling us which of these monsters truly haunts you. We release new deep dives every week, from gangland executions to psychological serial killers. And your support helps us shine light on what others fear to uncover. Robert Hansen, the human hunter of Alaska. As a troubled teenager, Robert Hansen found solace in hunting animals to escape his strict and abusive home life. But as he grew older, his targets changed, from wildlife to women. The remote, unforgiving wilderness of Alaska became the perfect killing ground for a predator who sought control over life itself. Hansen abducted women, often sex workers, assaulted them, and then released them into the woods, only to hunt them down like wild game. The media called him the Butcher Baker, and it wasn't just a nickname. He confessed to at least 17 murders. His reign of terror came to an end in 1983, when a young woman named Cindy Paulson escaped while he was loading his plane. Her survival led police to his home, where the horrifying truth unraveled. Hansen was sentenced to 461 years in prison. He died behind bars in 2014, but the scars he left on Alaska remain. Israel Keyes, the shadow with no pattern. One of the most disturbing aspects of Israel Keyes was his complete lack of a predictable method. He planned his murders with terrifying patience, traveling thousands of miles to avoid detection. A U.S. Army-trained killer, he buried kill kits, hidden stashes of weapons and supplies, across the country, ready to strike whenever he chose. His most well-known victim was 18-year-old Samantha Koenig, whose abduction and murder shocked the nation. It was her case that led to his capture, after police tracked bank withdrawals made using her card. Once in custody, Keyes revealed chilling details, but took his own life in 2012 before investigators could uncover the full extent of his crimes. The FBI believes there may be many more victims whose stories will never be told. The real terror behind Israel Keyes isn't just what he did, it's what we may never know. Authorities found maps, travel logs, and more kill kits buried across multiple states. To this day, the FBI believes there are victims we haven't identified. Let us know in the comments. Do you think he was America's most calculating serial killer? John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Clowns are supposed to make us laugh, but John Wayne Gacy turned that image into something from a nightmare. By day, Gacy was a respected community member who even performed as a clown at parties. But behind closed doors, he was a ruthless predator. Between 1972 and 1978, he lured teenage boys and young men into his home, where he tortured and murdered them. Police discovered the remains of 29 victims buried beneath his house. Gacy was eventually convicted of killing 33 people. He spent 14 years on death row and was executed in 1994. His name remains a haunting reminder that monsters often wear masks, sometimes even ones with painted smiles. Think about this. For years, Gacy killed while running a successful business and dressing up for children's parties. How many families unknowingly welcomed a monster into their homes? Comment below if you think he's the most terrifying double-life killer in modern history. Marcel Petiot, death under the guise of freedom. In Nazi-occupied France, Dr. Marcel Petiot claimed he was a hero helping Jewish families escape persecution. But his so-called escape route led only to death. Using a false identity and promising safety, he convinced desperate people to take a vaccine before their journey, a lethal injection of cyanide. He then stole their possessions and disposed of their bodies. Authorities discovered 23 bodies in his home, but it's believed he killed far more. Petiot never showed remorse. In 1946, he was executed by guillotine. His last words were chilling. "Gentlemen, I ask you not to look. This will not be very pretty." A fitting end for a man who hid evil behind the facade of a savior. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Monster. Jeffrey Dahmer's name has become synonymous with horror. Between 1978 and 1991, He lured men and boys to his apartment, where he not only killed them, but mutilated and preserved their bodies in grotesque ways. When police finally entered his apartment, they found skulls, severed heads, and evidence of cannibalism. His crimes revealed a deeply disturbed mind. He was sentenced to life in prison in 1992, but was killed by another inmate 2 years later. Many viewed his death as a form of justice, but others were left disturbed that he never truly explained why he committed such evil. David Parker Ray, the Toy Box Killer. In New Mexico, David Parker Ray created a horror chamber unlike anything most could imagine, a soundproof trailer filled with instruments of torture. Known as the Toy Box, this mobile dungeon was where he kept his victims, sometimes for days, sometimes for months. He drugged and abused them while recording the acts for his own pleasure. Ray claimed to have killed around 60 women, though no bodies were ever found. Ray was sentenced to 224 years, but died of a heart attack before facing true punishment. Investigators found hundreds of tapes, journals, and devices, but almost no bodies. The true number of victims may never be known. Some believe he was America's worst serial killer in terms of unconfirmed deaths. Was his girlfriend the true mastermind? Let's discuss Fred and Rosemary West, the House of Horrors. Fred and Rosemary West didn't just kill together, they built a life around their crimes. Their victims were often vulnerable young women, lured with promises of work or safety. The full scale of their crimes came to light in the 1990s. Fred took his life in prison before trial, and Rosemary was sentenced to life without parole. Albert Fish, the real Boogeyman. In the early 20th century, Albert Fish earned nicknames that speak for themselves: the Gray Man, the Brooklyn Vampire, and the Boogeyman. His crimes, mostly involving children, he once mailed a graphic letter to the mother of a young girl he had murdered, describing his actions in sickening detail. In 1934, he was arrested and eventually executed in the electric chair. Harold Shipman, Death by Trust. Dr. Harold Shipman was a beloved physician in England. Between the 1970s and 1990s, Shipman secretly injected hundreds of his elderly patients with lethal doses of diamorphine and left him money in forged wills. After an investigation, he was convicted of murdering 15 patients, but a public inquiry suggested his true count could be as high as 250. Shipman was sentenced to life, but he took his own life in 2004. His case shattered trust in the medical profession and left an entire nation stunned. Pedro López, the monster still out there. Pedro Alonso López isn't just one of the most prolific killers in history. He's also one of the most terrifying because he disappeared. Born in Colombia, López confessed to the murders of more than 300 girls across Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. After being caught in 1980 and sentenced in Ecuador, he served only 14 years. He was released for good behavior in 1998 and vanished. In 2002, he was suspected in a new murder, but authorities have never recaptured him. His current whereabouts are unknown. That reality, that such a monstrous figure may still be alive and free, is enough to haunt even the bravest minds. Think about it. A man who confessed to murdering over 300 girls was released and vanished. No GPS, no mugshot updates, no active manhunt. He could be standing behind someone in a market right now. Drop a skull in the comments if this one sent chills down your spine. These killers didn't just break laws, they broke humanity. Their names are carved into the dark history of our world, serving as chilling reminders of what people are capable of. If this video disturbed you or opened your eyes to something new, like, share, and subscribe to Crime Cipher. We explore the most shocking true crime cases every week, and your support helps us dig even deeper into the shadows. Stay alert, stay curious, and remember, the most terrifying monsters don't hide under your bed. They walk among us.